Hi, I'm Jobette Abellera and welcome to the director's commentary of There Is No Victor, where I will discuss and disclose the many components of this experimental film. This is a stadium with no referee, only an audience. There is no victor. This translation of the chorus of School of Tears by Korean group BTS is the inspiration for the concept of my film, showing racism as a battle between a perpetrator and a victim, with an audience of bystanders. Initially, I wanted to show two sides of racism, the victim and the culprit. However, as I thought deeper into this topic, I found it imperative not to just present two sides of the story when there is actually one more, very distinct side to this controversial issue, which the majority of the public can be classified as the bystander. By doing this, anyone who were to watch the film can be categorized into one of the three groups mentioned, reaching out to the audience on a more personal level. Rather than demeaning or criticizing one side of the dilemma or being biased to one side, I chose to show the audience the perspective of each character of the situation, whether bad or good. The film is ultimately divided into these three sections and shows the perspective of the perpetrator, the bystander, and the victim in this order. The main objective of this film is to provide the audience with a completely unique vision of racism different from what they usually see. With personal experiences of racial discrimination as inspiration, the aim of this experimental film is to show that everyone is on different sides. After various showings, viewers' interpretations differed, though didn't stray far from the main message. I wanted to make sure the audience could decipher their own meaning, showing that everyone sees things differently, therefore may see a different side of the story. Specifically aimed at adolescent viewers and older, this film would have a rating of PG, as it contains content that younger children may find confusing or upsetting, which requires the guidance of parents and guardians, and includes themes that may be considered mild in impact. A key element of this film is the soundtrack. While many experimental films opt for an asynchronous soundtrack, I specifically wanted to keep it rather simple and not confuse my audience in order to allow self-reflection and more focus to the visuals on screen. Both visual and audio match well together, and I did this specifically to show that we cannot depend on just one element to help us comprehend something, and we need every factor in order to completely understand what it is in front of us. If I had chosen to utilize an unsynchronized sound, the audience's attention would immediately be devoted to what they are listening to, meaning that if we just accept everything we hear, whether true or false, we miss the bigger picture. Even further, foreign lyrics were used throughout the film to emphasize the confusion people face when encountering another race. Also, the fact that only a select few will understand these lyrics reinforces the feeling of marginalization. The various soundtracks reinforces the fact that there are multiple layers to someone beyond what we see. The scenes depicting a bystander do not have any dialogue, emphasizing that idea of a witness or spectator not speaking out about this problem. Ultimately, the lyrics are symbolic of the victim's internal thoughts, ranging from dejected and melancholy lyrics
이건 현실이야. 살아야 할 뿐. 반전은 없어.
나를 보는 눈빛이 동정에 가득 찼어. 네 앞에서 난 차가 보여.
to more empowering and courageous thoughts.
자신감에 찬 네 모습이 내 눈은 그저 안쓰러워. 날 향한 씩씩한 발걸음이 오늘따라 초라해 보여.
When listening to the film with headphones on, the conflicting thoughts alternate between left and right ear, allowing the idea that as a victim, on one hand you may feel insignificant and helpless, yet on the other hand, there is a voice telling you to get up and fight back. Furthermore, I have utilized a plethora of symbolism within this film to portray my meaning through my own thoughts. The most distinct recurring symbol is the traffic lights at the beginning and the end of the film. An amber traffic light is featured at the start of the film as a symbol of caution, representing how each person is avoiding something. The perpetrator avoids people of another race, the bystander avoids being a part of the situation, and the victim avoids mistreatment. It is also worthy to note that this symbol represents that we're still waiting for this all to stop, waiting for the end. Of course, the video ends with the amber traffic light turning red, along with the end of the quote and the title of this film, There Is No Victor. This emphasizes the fact that in the end, who really is the winner? If all this fighting stops, and if the battle is over, is it really possible for one side to be triumphant over another? An important factor to note is the recurring motif of eyes or vision for each of the three sides. Many different eyes are used in the film, showing that anyone can be a victim and anyone can be the culprit. As for the perpetrator, there are multiple eyes shown in comparison to the one eye shown for the victim. This enforces the idea that the victim often feels outnumbered and insignificant compared to the many other faces opposing them. Also, the perpetrator's eyes are frequently correlated to a dog's eye, which is also seen through the eye of the victim, depicting the harsh, unpleasant, and animalistic actions of the culprit. On the other hand, we see that the bystander is completely blindfolded and visions askew. Of course, this depicts the well-known line, "to turn a blind eye," showing that bystanders can willingly or unknowingly ignore or disregard this issue. Other symbols include the candle, symbolizing life. In this case, it is blown out and it relights, symbolizing that although it may seem like someone is trying to take this life away from you and is pushing you back, there is light that will come out of this darkness. Also, fire was continuously utilized in regards to the perpetrator to symbolize danger and anger. Another symbol are the shadowed people. For the perpetrator, they are in full color, looking down on the victim who's completely blackened out, once again reinforcing segregation. In another shot, the bystander is turning their back on someone in need, and since they are the same person, this shows that they are ultimately turning away from themselves, not literally, but meaning they are walking away from another human being, another human face just like them. Other features are used in production common to experimental films include the use of out-of-focus exposure, rapid cutting, superimposition, printed titles, and more in order to fabricate my message. For the most part, Urban Sakapa's All the Same was the main influence of this production in regards to visuals.
똑같이 아파 늘 같은 이별하면서
Similar to Urban Sakapa's video, my film has a very subtle, faded and washed out colour, creating a somber mood. Also, out-of-focus shots were continuously used in All the Same, which I too utilised. Another significant factor is the static glitches in my film, which was also inspired by this video. For me, I took this to mean that this is an error or fault in society that we need to fix. Most importantly, the visuals are cut to the beat of the music as well, which I talked about earlier. Ultimately, I am extremely happy with the overall production of my experimental film. I feel that I was able to portray to the best of my ability such a controversial topic that is close to my heart and that I'm passionate about through this opportunity. I hope you have enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed creating it. Thank you.